Hey folks, how are y'all today? Today we're going to discuss rug punching, okay? And I'm going to really go over the needles. We have several different varieties, and there are some pros and cons to some of these. So if you're looking at this craft and you really want to see, technically what would fit my needs, I think you need to watch the video, because we have gone through 3 or 4 of them, and I have found, I do punching of all sorts, and I truly have found pros and cons in these, and I will definitely spell them out for you. So to start with, we have, I'm going to show the needles first. So this is a blue one, and it's an adjustable, and it has various levels. So with this, you can turn it, you can see how this expands out or it goes back in, okay? And that's what they mean by adjustable, is that the needle is what is moving. You are not having to control that, because this is easier to do. And unlike in hooking, it's totally different. This makes it easier because it already adjusts to the size pile you need. So this is a really good one, all right? This is the one I used to make our pillow, but, which we're gonna show in a minute. This one is a little bit more difficult, but very simplistic, very price oriented. So if you're just starting and you just want to play with it, that's something you might consider too. But it is a little bit more difficult because it has no numbers on it like the other one does. However, you have to figure out some certain things on it, and I'm going to go through that in a minute, okay? Then you have your trusty Oxford punch for various size weights of yarn. They come in 2 sizes, okay, with yarn, okay? You have a standard and you have a fine. You can definitely see the difference. The blades, the needles, one's big, one's small, okay? Hey, so I'm back again, and what I really want to illustrate here is pile height, okay? We have I demonstrated 3 makers. Don't assume that these are going to all have the same heights, okay? So I'm going to explain in depth what it means for Oxford and the other 2 adjustable ones. To do this, you probably need a ruler. So make sure that when you get your punch needle, whether it's adjustable or not, note what pile height you have, and then you can basically plan accordingly if that's what you want to do. So we're going to show this in inches. So on your Oxford needles, I've actually laid out the regular size. Okay, this is standard. As you can see, this is a number 8, a number 9, a number 10. These do gradate down. If you want to do that in your project, you would need all 3 of these, because one needle only does 1 pile height, okay? Unlike the adjustables. So with this, to measure these are the easiest to see. There's always a hole right here. When you're measuring from the base to the bottom of the hole, not the point, not halfway, not the top, base to the bottom. Doesn't matter, even on the adjustables, base to the bottom. That's so important. So as you can see on the, is a very slight difference, but you actually do see it when you're punching. When you're also measuring, you notice most rulers don't end right here. I always just use a regular one, and I just pretend, okay? Because this can skew you, because that's about some difference between some of the needles. So on this one, if I'm actually aiming for 1 here, and I'm going to the base of the needle, let me try this real quick so you can actually see this. So it's right here on the base. To the bottom is 1.5. So that's what we're seeing here, okay? So your loop will be half of this, not 1.5, because if you think you're going in, pulling it halfway, right as it, and that will give you that pile height. So in this particular one, number 8 is a 1/2 inch pile. Think of shag carpet. So on this one, it's an adjustable needle. You've got A, B, C, D, okay? Some of them have numbers, some of them, but this one actually is A, B, C, D. So in order to do this, it's a spring in there, so you can actually push it. I can actually see the spring in here, but I don't know if you can. So when I push up and then I lock it into D, that's gonna give me a pile height. If I don't know what it is, turn it over. Like I said, measure. This is 0.75 from here to the base. So half of 0.75 would be my pile height, okay? This is also good to note that when I get to A, so when I take this out and push it all the way up, notice I don't have hardly any, look how long this is. So this pile height is gonna be not quite 2 inches. It's gonna be 1 7/8, okay? This is gonna use a lot more yarn than one on a smaller pile, okay? Gotta think, because this is half of 1 7/8. Almost an inch pile, but not quite, okay? So with that, but each one of these will give you degrees of variance, okay? That's B, that's C, you can see. All right, so on the adjustable needle, this one actually comes with 2 threaders, okay? This one came with the copper one. This one actually comes with its own threaders. They are slightly longer than the normal replacement threaders that we have because of the length of the shaft is that much longer. So when that comes through here like that, you're gonna have to gently open up this part right here. So when you're sticking your needle or your thread in here, and it comes through. And if you get an issue where it doesn't want to behave, just whack it. So then once again, when you're going through here, the eye of the needle is pretty large, pretty significant. You can just thread that. But you have to thread the eye, okay? You can't just leave it in the shaft. That's another important thing. And then this one is now ready to punch, okay? So these two, you need threaders. These two, you need threaders, all right? These, on the other hand, the Oxfords are designed to not use those, okay? So it doesn't matter in all 3 of these. They all have a line that's been carved out, a slit, through all of these. And it doesn't matter which one, you just need to know. So I'm gonna put this in like this. It's like flossing your teeth, actually. Just slide it in there. The needle or the shaft has a groove opening in it. And so when you're holding it, you can see that it actually just slides right in there. So it's hidden. That actually is really well, because when you're punching, the abrasion on the thread is not gonna happen going in and out 1,000 times, okay? So once again, you would thread this part right here. It had a, and then when you're holding this, you can pull it down, but you can see these actually have a very nice feel to them. But once again, this one's not adjustable, but this is considered a rug punch because of the large opening that this would make as it goes into the fabric. All right, so now I'm going to show you with the particular rug punch needle various heights and what it does when I'm actually punching it, so you can see it evolve as I'm doing it. So once again, threader, need to thread, go all the way through to the very end. Now, if you notice, I'm using much thicker yarn, much thicker. This is actually one of our bulky wools that we have now. So as I'm threading this one, see how squishy it is? It's big, so I'm gonna bring it through, pull it through, take this out, basically put it through the eye, and I'm gonna be squeezing it through there, squish, squish, goes through. All right, so that's what I've threaded my needle. I chose the 3rd one, okay? But once again, you're not able to see that so well. So the best thing to do, bring your ruler out. You're trying to see what my pile height is. So if I had a drawing, I'd say number 3, number 4, and then I would have a cheat sheet next to it saying what my pile heights are. Okay, but once again, from here to the base of the needle is 1 1/8, so you're looking at 9/16. Half of that is my loop, okay? I'm just gonna punch a couple straight lines for you to show you what this needle's doing, and then I'm gonna flip it over, okay? So when I'm starting to go over techniques of this, you always want to start punching with the bevel, that's a bevel, you're leading with it, going away from you. You don't want to turn it this way, okay? So it's going this way. So I'm just gonna just simulate a line in here. All right, so as I'm going through one of these holes, you can see what's happening to that fabric. It's being spread apart. And as I go down, if I bring it straight up, it's going to come right back out. But look at the big hole that this does. So bulky yarns work really well with this, and they make very plush ones. All right, so as I go back down in the hole, to start with, sometimes I've had to take my hand and just steady my fabric as I'm coming. See, it's barely cresting right here. I don't lift it any further, okay? When I'm starting out, I try to go in the next hole right here, because what that's doing is pushing that other thread into it. And so when I go back down, it's now locked that first thread in. So once again, going up. Now, if my loops get too close together, which most of the time they do, I'm known as a tight puncher, instead of doing it every one, I'm going to move and go skip, put it in this hole, down, skip, next hole, down, skip, down, skip, down. I'm staying, this gives me a straight line. The fabric will do that if you're very, you know, aware of where your line is going. So as you can see, all this is I don't lift it up any further. It's like I'm dragging that toe of that needle right there on that fabric. So it just goes right back down. If at any time I jump over here, or I want to turn and make a square or something, or if I want to turn around and do another line from here, I'm gonna figure out, do I want to go in this one or this one? Probably the second one, because this is fat. If I go here, it's going to squeeze this so hard. So I'm going to probably jump to the second one. And then once again, do I do it in here or the second one? All of this is personal preference, okay? You want to know how tight or how loose to do it, okay? If the yarn's pulling right back out, it's too loose. That tells you. If you decide you want to do it in every hole, you're going to use a lot more yarn. So that's another thing. A lot of this just depends. But as I'm doing this, it's very easy, because I'm going to go to the next one. 1, 2. I like the single open holes. Monk's cloth is really nice, but you've got several different strands. This is our linen. The holes are pretty defined. If I feel like it's getting loose at any time, then I can put a couple of ones in there, and then I may go back to my twos, okay? You can see by looking at the material, I did 1, 1, 1 here, but you can see this is a bigger spacing. It crosses over the fabric, okay? Keep that in mind, because I'm going to show you how we use this, which is the back, in the design, even though the design normally is on the reverse side when you're punching, because you're punching down. This technically is the back, but this can be used as part of your design, okay? So I'm going to get to the end of this one, and then I'm going to change my pile heights, and then I'm going to show you on the back side what it looks like in reference to each other, okay? So when I get to the end, this is people don't understand what to do. I always put my finger here because I want to grab that fabric, and then I want to pull this up. If I didn't have my finger here, it's basically going to pull it all out. So once that's done, I take my scissors, and I'm going to trim, okay? I tend to not leave these loops hanging out, because at any time you grab it, it's gonna come out. My cat likes to grab it and run with it, so no, I trim. I like nice and tidy. Okay, next thing. So we did this one, which was 9/16. I'm gonna go to this pile right here, which is gonna give me a longer pile. I can leave my thread in there if I'm careful, you know, just making sure. So I'm going to turn. Notice these are not in line with this. I'm going to go past that one to the next one, turn, and it made a click. I can feel it. I'm pulling on it. Once again, use your ruler. Check. This one is 1.5. So now I'm 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch longer. That's what my pile is. So I'm going to do this right next to this a couple of rows so that you can see when I reverse it what it's doing. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start like 2 picks over. Watch my finger. I'm holding. I'm just starting, so I'm just going to put a couple in there just to make it snug. And then I'm going to punch. But it goes relatively quick. Notice when I'm punching for technique, if I only go halfway down and pull it out, that's not going to give me the same consistent pile height. Notice this touches down because that's pushed enough fabric underneath. Okay, then I'm coming back up and then I'm back all the way down. I'm touching the fabric. It's almost like jumping on a trampoline. This thing is down and up, down and up. That's important. You're inconsistent if you're not. Notice I'm turning this versus this. It tends to, it's just more efficient for me. It doesn't hurt my wrist. If at any time it feels tight, I haven't done it yet, but I have noticed when I took my needle, if I take it and angle it this way, it tends to get caught on these loops. I have found that it is better to go straight down. You don't actually hit the previous loop. All right, so let me do one more row and we should be able to see the difference. And this literally has been, maybe a minute or something for each one. I know I'm talking, but it goes relatively quick with the big yarn. Once again, when I'm finished, put my finger down on it, stop it, take my scissors, cut it. And now the reveal. So you can see this one was 9/16, but see it's that pile height. That's what I'm talking about. The loop is not going to be straight, it's going to be the loop. So this was shorter, and then this one actually is taller. So you could show, and once the next one gets next to it, you can see that it pushes it. So this one gives you a different, it's almost like terraces you could do. Or if you were doing trees or something, you could have the tree part and then the bark different or something like that. Anything like that, it's all about the texture that it does with the various things on the links of the pile. I think the needles are great for this because you're endless on your design possibilities. So this was a project that we had just finished with the big wool that we did. And we used the adjustable needles because we wanted to play with the various heights. And as you can see, this one's really low. And this one doesn't even look like a loop. That's, again, not this side, but I actually use this side as part of the design. And I said that. But if you do that, you have to reverse your fabric. You have to think about that. Okay, so this was actually done first, and then I turned my fabric over. So, but this is technically the back part. And then once again, each pile, each color that we did, we varied it just by a little bit. This one, of course, had the most. If you put large or big pile, small pile, you see more of a difference. Of course, the color is going to make a difference, but with that. But anyway, it was a wave, and we actually just wanted to show movement with it, and it does that with the colors and things. And we just made a pillow out of it with the back. All right, to just sum it up, I hope you enjoyed the video on the adjustable punch needle for pillows or for rugs. It can be for either one. It's just a larger wool is much easier. Softer wools like the big wools were great for pillows. Some more sturdier types can be for the rugs and stuff. But I hope it kind of helps on understanding pros and cons of some of the Oxfords and other ones. I mean, some people want the simplicity of it, some people don't. Some people want the ability to do more arty stuff with it. There's no right or wrong to them. It's just that I just think you need to think about the video, think about what we made, and possibly call us, and talk to me if you want. The only thing is I do recommend getting a set of these extra ones because they do get lost. I do want to highlight, I personally have some of these books. Amy Oxford has this book out. It has some great just sample things to try, but it is using the Oxford, okay? So just be aware of that. But her designs can be used for anything. It's just make note of that. Then you have some other ones that are more retro, new kind of things, different designs, and they all go through thin yarns, thick yarns. I mean, I've noticed some people have tried ribbon. It's so many things you can do. So once again, call us if you need help, or just look online at all the things. We're going to have them listed with this particular projects. Thanks.